So everyone looks forward to retiring and living the dream life and finally getting to do what they want to do. But what does it really take to get there? Is it worth getting there? And how can you get there at an age where you still have your strength and health and you can still actually enjoy your life instead of being just another 80-year-old sitting at a resort playing bingo? So I learned about something called the FIRE movement. I haven't heard of this before, but it stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. Sounds like the dream, right? And it's a financial strategy where you can save and invest aggressively in order to retire early. So the key principles of this include having a high savings rate, so saving from 50 to 70 to more % of your income, living frugally, while if you do want a nice lifestyle, we'll get to that as well, but it is generally focused on living frugally and investing primarily in index funds or real estate or something long-term that is stable, not like some meme coin, maybe even bonds or something like that. And a withdrawal strategy, typically withdrawing around 4% of your portfolio every year. These long-term investments usually can yield you around 6% a year. So withdrawing like 4% still leaves you a net 2% profit. So these kind of concepts are getting more popular now, especially now that on social media everything is so focused on just being free from like the system and being able to live your life and actually enjoy yourself and do what you want to do instead of just being stuck in an office for the rest of your life until you turn like 60 or 70 and now you can finally go on that cruise or something. So there are 3 types of FIRE. There's what's called lean FIRE, fat FIRE, and barista FIRE. So lean FIRE is like the basic one where you're just retiring on a minimal budget. Fat FIRE is with a slightly more luxurious lifestyle, and barista FIRE is where you're semi-retired, semi-working. I kind of think barista FIRE might be the nicest out of these 3. Well, barista FIRE would have its pros and cons, to be fair. We'll discuss more during the video. So in basic terms, how do you achieve FIRE? So first of all, as we said, you need to be saving aggressively. Aggressively means 50 to 70%, but of course, if you can save even more than that, the sky's the limit. And then you calculate your FIRE number, which means the amount of money you need to retire. Your annual expenses times 25 is how you would find your FIRE number. And this is the amount you would need to retire early, not necessarily the amount you would need to retire if you were retiring at 60 or 70 like anyone else. And there's the 4% rule which we spoke about, which is to plan to cash out 4% of your investments every year and choosing between lean, fat, or barista FIRE, depending on the kind of lifestyle you're trying to have when you retire and how much you're willing to give up for it. Just to be able to visualize this. So let's say if you're like 25 right now, for example, or let's say you're 25 and let's say you're earning like $3,000 a month. Let's say you're 25 and you're earning $2,000 a month. So not a very high salary. You're gonna somehow invest half of your salary every month, and let's say you've got like $5,000 like saved up. So you invest your $5,000 and then monthly you add let's say monthly you add 1,000, which is easier said than done. Like half of your income, I mean, with a lower income is even harder, but of course if you're earning like 10,000 a month, putting half of that would be a lot easier, but let's just see what happens. I'm also just trying this out. Let's just see what happens. So you're 25 and you want to retire at 40, so let's say like 15 years, and estimated interest rate, let's just say like 6%, or we could say 10%, but I want to be more like conservative. Let's say 7%. Like this is something you could get from a decent real estate, or like an ETF could easily give you this. And let's say like plus or minus 2% variance, and it'll be compounded annually. So let's see, how much would you have? So If you did this starting at 25, by the time you're 40, you would have $315,000 saved. So is this enough for you to retire on? So if you're earning like 2,000 a month and you're investing like half of it, so you're basically living on $1,000 a month, which is not very easy to do, but let's say you've managed somehow to do it, because I'm trying to do this on like a low scale. Like I don't want to say, oh, if you have like $1 million a month, like I want it to be something that anyone who's watching this could say, oh, I earn more than this, so this is easy for me, or I could do better than whatever this sample 25-year-old has done. So 315,000, so let's say 12,000 times 25 is 300K. Wow. Wow, so that is like the perfect amount we've got in here. So I mean, technically this person who is living on 1,000 a month can actually retire with this amount. And he would be, let's say 4% of 300K, or let's say 315K. Let's just be 315K. Oh, sorry about that. So 0.04 times 315K means that every year he can, this 25-year-old who's now 40 can liquidate $12,600 from his investment, whether he's put this money in an ETF or in real estate or whatever. I mean, real estate he wouldn't need to liquidate because he would be getting this amount like in the form of rent probably. So it's actually a pretty good idea. By the way, nothing in this video is financial advice, it's for entertainment purposes only. But as you can see, this is how that would work. So let's say you want a slightly nicer lifestyle. Let's say you want to be like, let's say you want to spend like 100K a year. Like that would get you a nice place to live. You could travel, you could eat good food. Like, okay, you're not going to be like flying private or something, but you'll be living quite comfortably if your spending is 100K a year. And this would of course have to cover like rent and stuff like that as well. So if you haven't like got a house that's yours or something like that by the age of 40, then you would need to keep in mind that you would need to be paying for rent or health insurance or stuff like that. So let's say if you somehow managed to get, if you wanted like 100K a year, so to get 100K a year you would need, so 4% of what would give you 100K a year? So 100K divided by 0.04, you would need $2.5 million. I mean, that's better than I was expecting, to be honest. Like, to have saved 2.5 million by the age of 40, you can now get like 100K a year, theoretically. And to get this 2.5 million a year, like how much would you have to invest? So you would have to work extra hard in your younger years if you want to retire early and comfortably. So let's say in a month, if you're contributing like, so we're keeping everything the same. Let's say you're contributing 5,000 every month. Let's see what that happens. And we're keeping the initial investment at 5,000. Like we don't want, we're pretending that you didn't have any advantage from before. Like let's just say you worked harder and made your monthly income higher. So 5,000 would give you 1.5 million. So I mean, that's not bad. That would probably give you around 50K a year, I guess, to live off. And let's say you did 10K a month, so you would be earning at least 20K a month to do this. Or I mean, you could be either earning 20K a month, or you could be earning like maybe 15K a month, but you decide to invest 10K off the 15K. Like you live very like frugally and you try to save and let that money compound by the time you reach 40 so that you can live more comfortably. So 10,000 has left us more, like extra money. So let's say 8,000. Let's see, what would that do? So $8,000 gives you roughly 2.5 million. So you can see the idea. This is how it would work. Let's say if you were only getting like 5,000, you could only invest like 5,000 a month. I'm saying only, it's a decent amount, but let's say you had like 30,000. Let's say you inherited $30,000, or your parents gave you, or whatever. I mean, see, it makes it a lot easier, but it doesn't make a huge difference. Like because it is just a one-time thing, the main difference is from the monthly contributions. So this is for the people who are going through a quarter life crisis or midlife crisis, and well, probably not midlife. If it's midlife, you're a bit late, but if you're in your 20s, maybe 30s, and you're like, I'm gonna retire early, or I want to retire early, this is what you're kind of looking at. This is what it's gonna take. Maybe for you in your position, this is easy and it's doable, and you're like, yeah, I can do that. And maybe it's not, I don't know. I mean, keep in mind that I feel like if you retire in your 40s, you could even get bored. Like, yes, you could do projects, you could do like a charity, you could do stuff, but you could even get bored. Like when you're in your 40s, you're like full of energy, your brain is fully like developed, you have things you could do. Maybe retire at 50 a bit, you know, so at least you kind of, I don't know, like it depends. Like your retirement could be to still work, but to not really need to care about the job. So you could work a job that you like and enjoy, and it keeps you busy, because realistically you're not going to be like holidaying the whole year, like from your 40s till you die. Like you're going to get bored. You're just going to eventually want to just sit at home and, you know, just do something. You're going to end up getting into gardening or something. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's gonna get boring. Like, I don't know, especially for guys. Like, guys always like to be busy, they like to do something. Maybe you could try out business ventures, maybe you could try out something. So, I mean, the idea is to just be financially free, to be able to just not worry about being late to work, or your boss getting annoyed at you or something like that. So while that's all nice, I also feel like the amount of like struggle you might go through in order to reach this financial independence and to retire, is it like worth it? I don't know. It depends on the person. So I hope that this video gave you some insight and was beneficial to you. And as always, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share your comments below. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.